If we were to have a conversation with someone thousands of years ago and we were to start talking about Justin Bieber and what is trending and Facebook, they would not have a clue what we were on about because we'd be talking in a language and with categories that they don't understand. So it shouldn't surprise us that when we read a book that was written thousands of years ago and they talk about some stuff, we don't have a clue what they're going on about either. There are certain categories that they're talking in, particularly in Leviticus, that we are forced to engage with and try and understand. And so I've drawn a little diagram, which may not be helpful, but it's the best I could do to try and understand two of the categories that really come up all the way through this book. The first one is stuff that's holy. So basically, the things that are holy are God and some other stuff. The other stuff being things that's used in the tabernacle, like the altar and the Ark of the Covenant and things like that. And that's stuff that can be made holy. So that's one category of stuff. The second category is called normal things. This is pretty much everything else. And normal things can be divided into two groups. Things that are clean, which is by default most stuff, so all people, and then lots and lots of other things are just understood to be clean. And then things that are unclean. And we're going to go through a list of things that are unclean. We've read about lots of animals that are unclean, childbirth and things like that. And there are other things like that can make you unclean. And the part of the point of the book of Leviticus and some of the other law books is to make the point that things that are clean can become unclean by certain things happening. So having a baby, bodily discharges, all that sort of stuff, it can make you unclean. And the purpose of a lot of the law is to make sure that something that's unclean does not touch something that is holy. When something unclean touches something that's holy, it's like a spark being put to dynamite. Boom. And we get the sort of reaction that we saw yesterday when those guys took the fire into the place that they shouldn't have taken it into and they got burned alive. So the law is about making sure that that never happens. And one of the ways to make sure that doesn't happen is by, first of all, making clear how something becomes unclean, but then also showing how when something or someone becomes unclean, they can become clean again by performing certain rituals, maybe by waiting for a certain period of time and all of that. That's what it's about. What does any of that mean? As we're going to read more of that phraseology, kind of like clean and unclean over the next few years, what does it mean? What does it mean for us today? Two things I want to suggest. The first one is it can cause us to be thankful. We don't have to live like that anymore. The purpose was not, don't eat this animal or do eat that animal. The purpose was we want to be around God who is holy. And today we get to be around God every single day because of Jesus and because of the fact that he always and permanently makes us clean, however bad we may feel, however unclean our behavior might be. He's cleansed us, so we can always be in God's presence. And the second thing is distinctiveness. The Israelites looked different from the people around them because they knew that they worshipped a holy God. And in the same way, you and I are to look very different from the world around us in how we spend our time, in what we think about, in what we do with our money, in what our greatest ambitions are, because we're to live and to look like the God that we follow, the person of Jesus Christ.